Good morning, guys. This is Leftenin doing another video for you guys. This one is going to be expressly over how exactly to apply your battle tactics or your points that you get whenever your hero levels up. So, let's say your hero is in a fight and you go through and you get your experience points and they level up, where exactly do you put the points? So, especially because of the fact that I had a request from one of my clanmates that was like, "Hey, where do I do? Where do I put them? What's the best way for this?" This is basically for Gongoa. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, but granted, it applies to everyone. Okay, so first things first. As you can notice, this is my updated city and all. You can tell that it's definitely got a nice upgrade. I am now at Guardsmen level 8. So you can see that we get a nice purple color, capital and everything, which I actually somewhat like these buildings better. They're getting more and more sophisticated as they get updated, so that's always cool. All right. So now, granted, my hero is at level 218 right now, so it is very, very high up. But what I'm going to do is walk you guys through which ones you should do first, and then after that, like where would you go and put the points, as you go along. All right, so let's look at our captain. I'm sorry, our hero. This is also how you access captains. You just click on your hero up here. And then you can notice that this is the armor that he currently has or whatever. And then we're going to go, if you're on the computer, it's right here. If you basically have it to where you're going through, actually, I think it's right here. I always do mine on the phone. No, it's not that. And there it is. Okay, cool. It was my first pick. Oops. All right, so this is basically the 4 different options that you have in order to put your points towards. So there's battle tactics, expert battle tactics, economy, and archaeology. So when you first start out, the best idea to basically do is to have it to where, like, if you haven't fought any fights, really, and you just have a low level captain and everything, then economy wouldn't be a bad idea. But these are the 2 that I would basically concentrate on: battle tactics and economy. So if, like, you're first starting out the game, first thing that you do is put on battle tactics. Okay, so you can see all the different options that we have along here, and I'll read them off because I know they're kind of hard to see on the screen. We have Guardsman training speed, we have specialist march speed, specialist training speed. At the beginning of the game, you should not be doing anything with your specialists. Specialists are basically useless. Sorry to say it and everything like that, but they really are. It takes conquest points in order to level up your specialists, and when you're getting conquest points, you need to be like improving your army modernization. So specialists should be ignored right off the bat. Specialist health, ignore it. Monster training speed, ignore it. Now, granted, you're going to have to put at least 1 on each one of these that goes straight down the line, because you can't get further to the bottom of the screen if you're on your phone, or further to the right on your screen if you're doing it on a computer, without adding at least 1 to each one. So it'd be like 1, 1, 1, 1, and keep going. Now, monsters, the reason why you ignore them to start with is because you don't get access to monsters until you do monsters level 3. Now, I've already talked in other videos about, if you want to grow quickly in this game, the best way to do it is to just do straight guardsmen. Guardsmen level, get your guardsmen up to level 2, get your guardsmen up to level 3, get your guardsmen up to 4, 5, 6. And then at that point, then you could be like, you know what, I'm good, and I'm going to pause for a long while at level 6. Or, hey, I want to keep going up to 7 and then pause, or go up to 8 and then pause. You got to decide how strong you really want to be in this game. If you just want to have it to where you're just playing this game for fun, then get to Guardsman level 4. If you have it to where you really want to get super strong in this game, like, the top elite or whatever, I was just like Guardsman level 7 or Guardsman level 8 before you basically pause, and then you go through and you hit up monsters. And then you hit up siege. And then you hit up like archaeology and other stuff like that. So let's pretend that for initially, most of the people that these videos are geared towards are going to be younger players anyways. I'm going to basically talk as though you are going to just concentrate on on guardsmen and ignore monsters. So here's how you would do it. Guardsman training speed. Definitely make sure that you improve this. Improve it to max value, 20 out of 20. So you're going to do this one first, go all the way up. Because this way, when you're creating your forces, it doesn't take as long for them to, have it to where they're ready. All right, then we get on over to these. You can ignore these to start. So ignore specialists, ignore monsters and specialists. And then you go over to here, ignore monsters' health. Now you can see I do have 20 out of 20 on that, but that's just because I got further along in the game and I do have monsters at this point. Siege engines. Don't need them really. Like, siege engines are an absolute waste for the start of the game. Most people that need siege engines, it's only because of the fact that they plan on killing other cities in the course of the game a lot. And for that, in all honesty, unless you are at a level to where you're like, you know what, I'm good, I'm going to stay here for a long while, don't do siege engines, because it takes just as many points for siege engines as it does for guardsmen, but siege engines don't get you valor points. So therefore, in order to level yourself up, these are utterly useless in order to get initially. So ignore them to start with. Then we get on over to engineer corps, guardsmen march speed. Ignore these. It doesn't matter if you guys march slow or fast. That's why they invented a thing called speed ups, and those things are very, very useful. So you can ignore those at least to start. And then we go over to guardsman health. Guardsman health, I would absolutely advise putting max points on those. So 20 out of 20, put it on guardsman health. Guardsman strength, max points, 20 out of 20. Chance for a guardsman to deal double damage. Sometimes in this game, they have it to where there is like a 1 out of 1. You either level it or you don't. The chance for guardsmen to do double damage, if it only costs you 1 battle point a tactic, then absolutely you should be doing this. Then we got chance for specialists to deal double damage. I put a point there, but I shouldn't have, in all honesty, just because I don't deal with specialists. Like, not yet. Once I get up to like where my guardsmen are level 8 and all my army modernization is done, then I'll go through and start working on my specialists. But I was advised, and also I have come to see that is very, very true. You do not need specialists in this game, at least until you are attacking other cities constantly. If you're attacking other players constantly, you will need swordsmen and also scouts. But if you are not attacking other players constantly, then the points that you get for conquest points are obtained mainly by your shadow invasion event. Whenever you see shadow invasion, hit the hell out of it. Keep on hitting it. So specialists, like, don't really need them. Just do 1 point on here in order to be able to progress it along. Then we get to engineers, blah, blah, blah. Don't need them. Monster strength, you can ignore it. Now, granted, I have it just because of the fact that I've gotten further in the game. Guardsman training speed, always max it out. And it basically gets very, very repetitive after this point. You can see that, like, ignore certain parts, don't really need siege engines, don't really need specialists, don't really need, like, other monsters, at least to start. And then you get to, like, guardsman health and guardsman strength, max the points out. Chance for guardsmen to deal double damage number 2, max, or do that 1 point there. And ignore. Monster strength, you're going to have to put at least 1 point on it. I have it to where it's maxed out, but that's just because I have monsters now. And keep going and going. As you can notice, every single time that you have a guardsman health or a guardsman strength, always add. Now, what's going to happen whenever you're doing this is you have to get to a certain level of hero in order to have it to where they allow you beyond a certain point. So let's say, for instance, right, we have level 2, and then we have level 3. There will be a break point in between one level versus the next to where your hero has to get up to a certain level in order to be able to do that. Whenever this happens, you'll see it to where this will be gray. This will have it to where you can't access it or anything else like that. And if you click on it, it'll say you need level, or you need a hero of level, like, 55 or 100 or whatever in order to be able to get there. So for that, whenever you get to a part where you can't go any further, then go through and switch on over to like economy or whatever. So as you're going along, make sure you always hit the Guardsman health, Guardsman strength, those ones, Guardsman training speed. Have those 3 always leveled up as much as you can. But then you get to a point to where you can't go no further, then you can switch on over to economy. And usually if you do battle tactics versus economy and everything, it will get it to where you can actually level up your stuff correctly. And then you get all the way to the end, right? We have like monster strength 3, engineer core strength 3, all that kind of stuff. Remember, ignore the specialists, ignore the, the engineer core or whatever. I seriously wish that I had never done this right here, specialist strength 3, and I did 20 out of 20. That was stupid. I would love to take those 20 points and put them someplace else, but oh well. And I know I can and everything. Like, I can always go through and reset all my talent points and everything. But for right now, I'm okay with it. It hasn't hurt me too much yet. I mean, granted, at some point, I might go through and reset all my talent points and get them off of here because I don't need them. All right, so now, whenever you hit that point to where you have to switch from like, hey, I can't go any further, my level of my hero is not there yet, or whatever, then you switch on over to economy. Okay, so in economy, there's a bunch of good things that you really need and all. So like production of building resources in the city, absolutely, go through and put them on there. When you look at silver production in the city, absolutely put them on there. Now, you can tell very much right off the bat, I have certain things that I have not done the way that I should. Like, everybody makes mistakes, and I've definitely done mine. So silver production in the city should be higher. Resource gathering speed should be higher. That should be maxed out. This one should be maxed out. And so should production of building resources in the city. What I did whenever I was doing economy was I did one on each one of these and try to get as far as I can all the way down the line. And then I hit a block, and then I went back through and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. Let's see, research speed, max it out. Absolutely. Construction speed, max it out. And I didn't even max that out. Man, I'm really gonna have to go through and reset some of these. Oops. Yeah. That was stupid. All right. But anyways, so you keep on going along and everything. The things that you're going to need further on down the line, like for initially, food production in the city should definitely be going through and maxed out. As you can see, I messed it up. Resource gathering speed, definitely go through and max it out. Because when you're initially starting the game, your resources and being able to quickly get them is going to dictate as far as how quickly your game can grow. Now, if you do building resources times 4 little mini sale, then that would have it to where you can grow super, super fast. It has a $4.99, $9.99, $19.99, $49, $99, and a $250 one. I would highly suggest that if you can, get all of them. Get all the way up to $250. Because this way, what ends up happening is you don't have to spend one captain or two captains that are constantly, and I do mean constantly, going out and gathering resources. Like, I didn't buy resources, I gathered resources until I hit G6. And then after that point, it gets to where, like, it just becomes so gosh darn annoying. Like, oh my gosh, I need to rush here in order to get, like, this little bit of lumber and this little bit of this and this little bit of that. And it's just kind of like, I'm not going to rush for that. Like, I'll use my speed ups in order to go hit somebody faster as opposed to, like, going through and gathering resources. So, But when you are lower levels and everything, either do the building resources times 4, a little mini sale whenever it pops up, or make sure you're constantly gathering resources. So research speed, definitely need. Construction speed, definitely need. Resource gathering speed, definitely need. These other ones where it's like warehouse capacity, doesn't matter. I honestly do not understand why it is that they have this in the game, because with with warehouse capacity, it will say like, oh, you can hold this amount of lumber, this amount of iron, this amount of this, blah blah blah. But what you're thinking is, okay, so is my items that I can draw from and click use, does it limit the amount of that? No, it doesn't. Does it limit the amount of, silver that I have active that I can easily use without having to go through and into my items and press use or whatever? No, it doesn't. Like, my warehouse was saying that it could only go through and hold 90 million silver at one point. But then when I had it to where I did a mix up and I accidentally pressed like this button, but on the items list where you can click on them and use them, I'll show you exactly, or I'll show you later what I mean. But when I clicked on that and everything, it made it to where all of my item of that one level of like the 5 million that I had, like, 5 million silver, and then I had a whole bunch of them. I had like 178 of them. So I had almost 900 million in silver sitting aside, which I had bought through tons of silver times 2 sale. So I ended up getting 300 million and then 600 million in the course of $500, which, by the way, is not that good a way to spend money. Do not do that. Like, I made that mistake. Do not do that. But then when I accidentally pressed this, then I had 800 million that's currently sitting at the very top of my screen. The warehouse honestly does not do anything. Like, if it says, oh, there's a limit, it doesn't exist. I don't know if it's a flaw by the makers or whatever, but yeah, that doesn't apply at all. Because in all honesty, with more veteran players, if your warehouse has a capacity of, 100 million lumber or whatever, I guarantee people that have been playing this for like 2 years have more lumber than that. It's just true. Silver production in the city, always go through and level it up. Caravan speed, I don't really care about. I'd rather put my points elsewhere. But this is a good idea if you're constantly giving resources to other players. For me, I've always had it to where, like, I don't donate a lot to the clan in the form of like stuff that I harvest myself or that I gather on the world stage or whatever. But what I do is I kill heroics. And by killing heroics, I gain valor and I also donate to the clan. So therefore, you do not need to go through and do caravan speed or caravan carrying capacity. You might need this if you go through and you attack people illegally a lot, then you're having to send them stuff in order to make up for it and be like, I'm sorry, here's 20 million in silver or whatever. Like, I've had to do that once before, and gosh, does it suck. Like, one time I had it to where I was attacking, or somebody attacked me at 3:55, like Central Time, which is right before the day's events end. And they knew it. And then they have Ulrich. So when I went through and tried to attack them, it was after 4 o'clock. So therefore, my attack was illegal. And I did not see the time because, I mean, how many people are constantly looking at the time? Lo and behold, I should have before I did it. Therefore, it cost me like, I think 6 million in silver. I ended up giving them 7.5 because 20% is deducted on taxes. But, so be it. So construction speed, whenever you see it or whatever, make sure you go through and add to it. Research speed, whenever you see it, make sure you go through and add to it. I am noticing that I messed up a lot in these areas. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix that. All right. Duly noted. Okay, so then we have it to where food production in the city. So if you're going through and you're trying to figure out what you need initially, production of resources in the city, silver production, resource gathering speed, construction speed, research speed, and food production in the city speed. Those are the 6 different ones that you need. Production and building, silver production, resource gathering speed, construction speed, food, and research. Those are the 6 that you need to go through and add every time. And as you go along and everything, and you're going through and completing this or whatever, I would like to do it to where I hit 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 all the way down the middle. And then I go through and I branch off to the sides. Like, hey, I've gone through and hit 1 each on this, so I have access to it. Because when you do this down here, it makes a greater impact. So where it says 60%, let's go all the way back to the beginning. For food production of level 1, right? If you went through and you added it on in and everything, it doesn't make as much of a difference as it does when you go to a level 5. So I usually, whenever I'm doing research, I'll go as far as I can first, and then I'll go through and backtrack and be like, okay, now let's go through and do these. Coincidentally enough, as you can see, I've messed up and I've done some things I shouldn't have, but Okay, so battle tactics are first. Whenever you reach a part to where you can't go no further, like let's say, for instance, you get stuck right about... We're still on 2, still on 2, still on 2. Okay, once you get to this, where it hits from 2 to 3, you might get stuck. And you've been on battle tactics, then you switch to economy. So battle tactics first, economy second, and you go back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. Now, for those of you that do not want to go through and basically gather resources on the world stage, where you're hitting the mines, you're hitting the quarries, you're hitting the sawmills, all that kind of stuff, then archaeology might be a good way to go. So it depends upon how you want to play. Because with archaeology, whenever you're going through and raiding a crypt, then you can get it to where you will get a ton of prizes from it. So some people, they go through and they'll raid crypts as opposed to going through and gathering on the world stage. I do not do this. And I'll tell you why. Because tar, which is made in your city, is going to take a while for you to basically make enough in order for you to start hitting crypts. Whether or not it is a rare crypt or a epic crypt or even just a common crypt. Now, here's the problem with them. If you're going to use this tar at some point, why not use it when it makes a bigger difference? So what I did was I saved up my tar as much as possible, and then I got to the point to where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go through and basically use up my tar now, but I'm going to hit at higher level type of crypts. So instead of using a ton of tar on a crypt level 5 or whatever, I'll use a ton of tar on a crypt level 20 or a crypt level 25. So I waited further on down the line in order to be able to hit crypts, and I basically just gathered resources for the very beginning. Now, there is a bonus to you going through and raiding crypts as opposed to gathering on the world stage. You get experience for your crypt explorer by them going through and exploring crypts. So if you're worried about the level of your captains, then this is a good way to go. The bad part is tar runs out very quickly. And so therefore you're basically going to have it to where you're stuck and you can't do no more. So let's say, for instance, that you were going to do crypts as opposed to gathering on the world stage. Tar production speed. Level it up as much as you possibly can. Bonus experience in crypts. Level it up as much as you can. As you can see, I've ignored this just because it's not the style of play that I want to do. I'm not a crypt raider. I am having it to where I fight and I gather, as opposed to crypt raiding. Like, it's up to you guys. I mean, if this is what you want to do, then tar production speed and bonus experience in crypt you do need. Crypt march range, do not worry about. The reason why is because of the fact that you don't want to have it to where you're marching all the way across the freaking map to the other side of the kingdom in order to just go through and raid a crypt. Most of the time, most crypts are going to pop up in your area. So it is going to be like kind of like an opportunistic type of approach to where, and I'll break it down easy. Let's say, for instance, that you're a single guy and you have it to where you're trying to date or whatever, and you're looking for a certain type of woman. Yes, you can go through and drive 1,000 miles in order to go meet a woman that you think might be awesome or whatever. Or you can wait a little bit longer and someone's going to pop into your life that might live 10 miles away from you. So which would you rather do? Drive 1,000 miles constantly in order to go see them, or wait for somebody that's going to be 10 miles away? I would highly advise that you guys go through and just wait for the crypts to come to you. Trust me, if they're out, like if they run out or whatever, they're going to pop up more in your area at some point. They will always be there. They'll come back. So equipment crafting speed doesn't really matter. You shouldn't be creating so much equipment and everything to where this actually matters. Chance to explore crypt twice. It only costs you one tactic or whatever, so definitely do it. Crypt exploration costs. It only costs you one. Absolutely do it. Crypt exploration efficiency. Absolutely do this. So here's the ones that you need to do. Crypt exploration efficiency, crypt exploration cost, chance to explore a crypt twice. Now let's backtrack a little. Tar production speed and bonus experience in crypt. Those are the ones that you really need. Tar capacity has never been an issue. A lot of times you get these as prizes from other people, the tar. So you can always use it that way. And then it's in your items, so it doesn't really matter. And as far as like the capacity as to how much tar your, person can handle, then yes, it could be to where you're like, oh, well, if I have more tar that the hero can hold, then they can explore more of the crypt at, that point. Yes, that is true, but here's the problem that you're going to run into. And I'm going to show you just because there is no better way to go through and show this, or I'm sorry, to talk about this than to just show it. So let's go through and imagine that we're going to explore one of our crypts. All right, so we're going to go to crypts, and we're going to hit a common one. All right, so epics are apparently in our area a lot. I don't want epics. I don't want rare. I don't want arenas. I just want a regular level crypt. Okay, so we're going to do this one. It's a level 25. I have it to where under the archaeology research area that I'm up to level 5. I would like to get to 7 so I can hit these higher level ones. And I am saving up my epic level tar in order to get to the 35s. Because the prizes are going to be bigger, which includes gems. And also it's going to be including different types of materials that I have not accessed easily. Okay, so I'm going to do a level 25 common level crypt. Yeah, I know the sales. And then I'm going to make sure that my captain is correct. So those of you that are like, should I be using a certain captain or not? Always use Carter. Every single level that he gains is a little bit more efficient on his crypt exploration. So therefore, he is a good one in order to have. So crypt exploration efficiency, 96%, because he is currently level 96. So then, this is where it's at. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys exactly what would be a good strategy in order to go for whenever you're talking about Carter exploring a crypt. All right, so it already has it to where it's maxed out. I'm doing the max level amount of, tar, blah, 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 Carter, explore. All right, so we're going to speed this up because who the heck wants to watch that? So Carter's going to run on down here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bing. All right. So Carter went through, and when he explored this crypt for a common crypt, he hit it at 57%. Okay, so here's the thing about whenever you go through and go crypt exploring. You're going to have it to where you might have to do it 2 times, 3 times, 1 time, 4 times, whatever. If I know that Carter, based upon his level, is only going to go through and give me, also with all the other bonuses and everything else, around 50 to 55, 60%, then I am not going to worry about going through and improving Carter all that much. Because I'm still going to, even if I improve him a little bit, I'm still going to hit 70%, and I'm still going to have to go back and hit that crypt again. So therefore, I might as well just go through and, leave Carter the way he is, leave the research the way that it is, the battle tactics the way that it is, all this other kind of stuff for archaeology, and because he's going to do it in 2 trips, I'm good. Now, if you really want to have it to where Carter only takes 1 trip, then you need to go through and drastically improve his level up from 96 up to 150. And then at that point, go into the archaeology stuff for battle tactics. Or for your tactics part. So then I would hit archaeology really, really hard. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to improve the tar capacity. I'm going to improve the common crypt efficiency. So going further along, common crypt exploration efficiency. If I had Carter at level 120, 130, and I know that I'm going to be hitting a lot of common crypts level 25, then yes, I would be going through and trying to improve this all the way up. But if you're not going to do crypts and you're going to be gathering resources, then this is absolutely not that necessary. So it takes you more trips. So it takes you to where granted, there's always a reason to do anything in this game. You just have to figure out, does it really freaking matter? There's a reason why they call this a strategic game. You have to figure out what matters to you, how you want to play, and then you have to go through and adapt to it. I can go through and show you how I play and how I would recommend, but I can't go through and show you this is this way to do it, this is that way to do it, and fully do it that way. So archaeology is a very good area to do, and improving, tar capacity and bonus, and then you also have crypt exploration efficiency. Yes, those are all really good things to do. But then the question is going to be and I started to work backwards. See, I went all the way down, and I'm oh, epic crypt exploration, rare crypt exploration, common crypt exploration. All these are very, very good things. And I started to work a little bit backwards. And I'll get there. As I get my hero further up in levels and everything, then this will have it to where I will be hitting this a little bit more. But when you look at it, I'd rather get the economy, construction, research speed. Now, granted, I'm not going to be doing any construction anytime soon, so I'd rather get my research speed up and also get my archaeology up, because that is something I'm going to start hitting more. But let's say, for instance, that you did battle tactics and economy first. That would be where I would stick my stuff first. After you fill up battle tactics to where you go all the way down to the bottom of the list, and I think you have to be level 105 for your hero in order to access the expert battle tactics. When you get to this one, they split them up into different things. So whereas before it was Guardsmen training speed, it wasn't mounted units training speed, ranged units training speed, melee units training speed. They split all of them up, which makes it good in some ways and a heck of a lot more costly in other ways. So then you get to flying units training speed. When you're up at this level, you have flying, griffins or flying Koraks or whatever. So at level 8, they have these things called Koraks or whatever that fly. Just letting you know. And then as you go along and everything, you go straight on down the line, and then you figure out what you really need. Always, 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 no matter what the heck kind of style play that you are doing, do the melee units first. Melee health, melee strength. And then go mounted units health, mounted units strength. Hopefully you guys understand that. So your melee and your mounted are the most important things because you need to gain Valor points. If you want to progress in this game, Valor points is the best way for you to go through and progress. Therefore, Arachne and Ragnarok are your two best events. If you want to have it to where you're also gaining in your army modernization to where you hit harder, then you need to go through and do Shadow Invasion. If you do nothing else in this game, you need to do those three events. Pretty much everything that you need can come from those three events. Now, granted, Doomsday does give you the immortal essence or whatever, so that's all well and good. And Armageddon is nice in order to go through and get your hero up, but you can also get your hero up from Shadow Invasion. Because in Shadow Invasion, you can attack with all of your guys, your hero and your three captains. So Shadow Invasion is technically better of a way to upgrade your hero because of the fact that your hero will have your other characters with them, so your hero will upgrade even faster. So just to break it down, and this is the last thing I'm going to say for this video. Battle tactics first. Once you hit to where you can't go no further, go to economy. And then further on in the game, you can start touching on these two, expert battle tactics and archaeology. Always upgrade your guardsmen, melee, and mounted units first. Their training speed, their strength, and their health. And then you can go through and start hitting up the economy. Production of resources, gathering speed, construction speed, research speed, silver in the city, and food in the city. Hopefully that goes through and helps you guys out, especially with, your tactics and everything else. If you have it to where you would like to reset your talents, which I'm thinking about doing, and I'm probably going to end up doing after this, then you can always go through and hit this button. You do have to pay in order to be able to get that item or whatever when in your sales section. So I'll quickly show that. But also, if you like these videos and they're actually helping you out, which I hope they do, then go through and give me a comment, give me a like, a subscribe or whatever. I usually don't ask that and everything, but I'm trying to help as many people as I can. So if you really like them, even if you don't want to do that, then just recommend them to other people in your clan. Hey guys, I'm going to help you out. And I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm just doing it to help you. All right. So here's the sale right here. Change your talents, right? Which I'm going to end up doing this. And you can reset it twice. So some people, and this is something that I learned from another player and everything, is right before Clash of Thrones happens, and then right after Clash of Thrones happens, the person goes through and they reset their talents every time. Now, I was like, oi, why would they do this? And now I'm thinking, oh, okay. So here's the reason why they do this, right? So you can purchase it $9.99 every single week or whatever. If you want to spend the money, go ahead. But what the person does is when they reset their talents, here's what they're doing. They're changing it from economy and archaeology, and they're putting all of it into their battle tactics. When COT is over, they're taking it off of this and they're putting it onto this. Wartime, peacetime. So they are resetting their talents every single week, flipping it from these two to these two. It is a good idea in some ways if you can afford it. I am not ever going to do this to where I'm going to be flip-flopping them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But it is a good idea. If you would like to do that, if you are high enough level to where this actually does matter to you or whatever, then you can always go through and do that. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be doing another video actually later on today because I realized another topic that I do need to hit upon, but I will try and get these posted to you as quickly as I possibly can. Probably the next video that I'm going to be doing is going to be over, once your kingdom opens, how screwed are you? Have a good day. Bye.